Okay, so this is part 2 of our array using formulas in family parameters tutorial. And so in the last tutorial, what we did was we created a series of chairs on each side of this table, and then we did an array command, or we did an array of chairs. And so this is basically where we're at right now. We have an array of chairs, and then under 4 blue squares we have a parameter already set up for us called number of chairs, and we have a simple formula in there basically to space out those chairs. We want the chairs every 2 feet, so what we're going to say is we're going to take the width and divide it by 2 feet, and that will give us the number of chairs that we need for that array. Alright, so what we do is we want to hook this array up to that formula. So I'm going to pick this chair here, and up here what you do is it's kind of invisible, so you kind of have to feel around for it. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to select this piece right up here. Alright, and that's basically the number of chairs parameter that's in that array command. So what I do is I select it, and then basically go over here to label, and I lock it into that number of chairs parameter. Alright, so then what it basically does is it then now puts in 4 chairs. Alright, so we've got 4 chairs in here, and our width is 8 feet. However, in our formula, what we're not taking into account is this chair offset over here. We've got a chair offset there and a chair offset there. So it's really this distance here between the center of chair and center of chair. That's what we want to divide by 2 feet to get our spacing. Alright, so what I got to do is just amend our formula slightly here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it's going to be the width. Alright, and then minus 2 times the chair offset, whatever that parameter is. So I'm going to say chair offset, and remember it has to be spelled exactly the same as the actual parameter itself. So I have to capitalize the C and the O. All right, and then so width times 2 times the chair offset. Okay, and let's put parentheses here. So we have to put parentheses in there for chair offset. So 2 times chair offset. Alright, and let's see if that'll work. Oops, width minus, and then we'll have to do, let's say width, and there. Okay, so then it's width minus 2 times the chair offset divided by 2. I'm going to say okay. Alright, so that gives us 3 chairs. Okay, so we're going to test this thing out. Alright, and let's go up to 20 feet. Alright, so there's 20 feet. That looks pretty good. Let's go back down to, let's say, 6 feet. Alright, and that's good. Alright, now at a certain point that formula is not going to work. There's a rule with arrays in the array command that basically says that the number of chairs in the array can't be less than 2. Alright, so when I go down to 4 feet, that formula goes down to 1 and it breaks. That's basically the point at which it says, can't do it. I can't put just 2 chairs in. Alright, so what we have to do is then amend that. Let's amend our formula a little bit more to say that that the quantity will always be 2. Alright, so I'm going to do is I'm going to add a +1 at the end of the formula here. Okay, so there. Alright, so if I just add a +1, okay, then that basically means that, oops, right, parentheses not expected. That should be right. There we go. We can just get rid of that one. Alright. So now we always have 2. So we'll always have 2 chairs in there. So let's test this thing out here. Alright, so there's 2. Alright, let's go back up to 6 feet. Okay, go up to 20 feet. There's 20 feet. Alright. So go to 4 feet. Back down to 4 feet. Alright. and that works. Let's go to 3 feet. All right, that works. All right, but at 3 feet, we're basically, the two chairs are kind of basically now, kind of climbing on top of each other. So what I want to do then is, because I do want to kind of make sure that this thing can go down to a number like 2 feet or 3 feet. But what I'd like to happen at less than 3 feet, or let's say less than 4 feet, what I'd like to happen is it to switch to one single chair. So anything less than 4 feet, it'll switch to one single chair. All right. So to do that, basically what we're going to have to do is use kind of the visibility parameter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a formula in here that basically turns off the array, right, when it gets below 4 feet, so that you don't have this issue with two chairs climbing, kind of smashing on top of each other. All right, and then what happens is then when it goes less than 4 feet, then it turns on two single chairs, one on each side. All right, so I'm going to amend our formula a little bit further to do that. So what I'm going to use is an if-then statement. And an if-then statement, if you've ever used Excel or any kind of simple computer programming, is basically it works like this. Basically, you have an if statement, and then you have some sort of truth, if or some sort of instance. So if you'll say the sun is out. Oops. So sun is out. Then wake up. Else, which basically means, so these little commas basically means if the sun is out, then wake up. If the sun is not up, or what you do when you're not waking up, then sleep. All right, so that's basically a real simple if-then statement. So that's kind of what we're going to work with here. So what I'm going to say is, if the width is greater than 4 feet, then if the width is less than 4 feet, then just put in 2 chairs, and if it's greater than 4 feet, then use this formula here. All right, so I'm going to basically add on to this. So I'm going to say if, and then if the width is less than 4 feet, then put in 2 chairs. If not, then put in this. All right, put in this formula here. All right, so what I'm going to do, and I got to add a couple parentheses to kind of partition this off. Okay. All right. All right, so there's my formula there. So if the width is less than 4 feet, then just put in 2 chairs. If not, then run this formula here. All right. So let's say OK. All right, so we've got our 2 chairs. Now what I want to happen then is, let's spread this thing out back to 10 feet. All right, so what I want to do, we need an odd number. All right, so then what I want to do is I want to have a visibility parameter that's built into the array to turn this array off when it goes below 4 feet, and to turn on 2 single chairs, one here and one here, when the thing is less than 4 feet. All right, so what I need to do is I need to take a new chair here. Actually, I just put in a new chair. Let's go create, component. Okay. All right, so these are going to be our single chairs. All right, and I want to align them up with and lock them to my grid. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take those 2 chairs, and I'm going to put them on a visibility parameter. So I'm going to make a visibility parameter here. So I go to visibility, hit the little white button, and I'm going to call this one single chair. Okay, so that's going to be single chair. I'll say OK. All right, and then I'm going to put a formula on the single chair visibility parameter that says when the width, so turn this thing on when the width is less than 4 feet. All right, I'll say OK. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my array, I'm going to edit the group and pick one of my array chairs here, and I'm going to create a new parameter for them. Say add, and I'm going to call it array. Okay, I'm going to say OK, OK, and do that same thing with this chair here, put that on the array of chairs. All right, so the array chairs are now all on the array chairs visibility parameter. All right, and so what I'm going to do is array chairs, and when the width is greater than 3'11", then we're going to turn on the array. Okay, so what happens is I'm going to say OK. Okay, so let's load this into a project to kind of test it out to see what that then does. So I'm going to say new project. All right, let's load that in. Okay, so now my array is on, and if I go to edit type, all right, so the width is greater than 4 feet. So the array is on, the single chair is off. So let's go to 3 feet and hit apply. And what that does then is now that the thing is less than 4 feet, the array of chairs now turns off, and the single chair turns on. Now let's see what happens when we go to 4 feet. Let's see if that doesn't break it. So 4 feet, then we're good. We have 2 chairs, and that's plenty of room for the 2 chairs. And we can go up to 5 feet, test it out. There you go, 5 feet. That's a little tight. A little tight for 5 feet. All right. And then 6 feet. Hit apply. 6 feet is good. All right, 12 feet. That's pretty good. Okay, so that's basically the array. And then the other thing we have here is this base here. At a certain point, that base basically gets a little too, the table gets a little bit too long for a single base at the bottom of it. So what I did is just a real simple, I have a base in the middle, and I have a base at this end and that end, and I have basically a series of visibility parameters that say, well, when the table width is less than, let's say, 10 feet, we'll say less than 6 feet, well, probably 5 feet. We'll say less than 5 feet, then that single base is on. When the table is greater than 10 feet or greater than 5 feet, then the 2 legs at either end will turn on. And then when the table gets longer than 12 feet, then all 3 will turn on. So let's try doing that one real quick. All right, so I'm going to say OK, edit family. All right, so here's my single base. Let's create a visibility parameter for that. So here's the visibility parameter. All right, and I'm going to call this one single base. Okay, and we'll say OK, single base. I'm going to put a visibility parameter on that one. So here's single base. So we'll say when the width, we'll just actually use 4 feet. When the width is less than 4 feet, then that's going to turn on. But when it's greater than 4 feet, it'll turn off. Okay, so I'm going to say OK. Now I need 2 new bases. I'm going to say copy there and copy another one over there. All right, so let's lock those to, actually we'll use that same reference plane for the chair offset. I'm going to lock it to that one. All right, going to lock it to that one. Okay, and I'm going to take this chair, or this leg here, and I'm going to put that on a new visibility parameter, and we'll call it 2 legs. All right, and then say OK, and then same thing over here. All right, and that's going to be on 2 legs. All right, so probably want 2 legs to turn on when the chair, well, we'll just say when the chair gets over 4 feet. So let's go to 4 blue squares. All right, 2 legs. So when the width is greater than Oops, sorry. Greater than, what was it, 3'11" to kind of match the other one. All right, and let's say OK. All right, let's load it into the project. So we're going to overwrite it. All right, so what that did is basically now my chair length, or my table length, is greater than 4 feet. So therefore, it turns on both legs. Let's change this table length back to 4 feet and apply. And now it goes to, well, 4 feet. It's still at 2 table legs. Let's go to 3 feet. There you go. At 3 feet, then it does a single.